Okay, everybody, welcome. Today is Thursday, May 20th, and we're very thankful. Welcome, Daniel Barbarisi, to talk about your new book, Chasing the Thrill. We all know it. We've all read it. I'd say the majority of people have read it. But if you haven't, down in the description below is the link to the book on Amazon. And I just want to be the first one to say I read the book and I really liked it. It was a great window into the thrill of the chase. You cover the searchers, you cover some of the craziness, and you kind of cover the ending, or at least the ending that we're left with. I don't think it's really ended yet, but I know we're going to have a ton of questions, so I'm going to turn it right over to K-Pro. I will remind people, Super Chat's on. If you have a question, you have to ask. I am going to try and cover the questions, Super Chat or not, but we may run out of time. So take it away, K-Pro.
I think we will run out of time. I've had about 70 of you send questions to me. Thank you. And I already have told Dan the number one question, so he's ready for it. Yes, we'll get this solved tonight. Oh, wait, no. He only did that earlier with us. Just kidding. Yes, the book, here's a cool thing about the book. It's not only hard copy, it's not only ebook, it's audiobook, and it's actually Dan, which I did not know. And so some people kind of feel the excitement from a searcher reading this book. But you may want to hold off a second, because after Dan drops off, we are going to do a book giveaway. One of those great moderators, please put the link in the chat. So we already have the book. We will get it to you. And let's see. Super chat is on, thumbs up, all that good stuff. We're not playing songs. There's no soundboard tonight because we're getting to the grit. Yes, Mike. Yes, Mike. So, Dan, the first thing is there are some people in here that really don't know who you are, as you just didn't write this book for Jack just this last 6 months. You were a searcher. You've been around for years. You were at Fembury. This wasn't just a book for Jack. This was, you actually had to stop and rewrite the book. I've seen a lot of your interviews, but if you'd introduce yourself, maybe beep as well. You had a search partner, somebody crazy got you into it, like a lot of us heard from someone else. So if you could just do an intro of who you are to kind of get everybody on the same page of where we're going tonight.
Yeah, Mike, Christy, thanks so much for having me here. I appreciate it. Right, it is kind of funny. I started on this in about the early part of 2017 when the guy you mentioned, Beep, Jay Rayner, a wonderful friend who was from my last book, Dueling with Kings. He was like my mentor in that book when I went into the daily fantasy sports world. He kind of dropped off the map, and he was, I couldn't raise him, and then I finally found him, and he was like, "Hey, have you heard of the treasure of Forrest Fenn?" And he kind of brought me up to speed. I had never heard of it. I had no idea. I instantly thought this was the world's coolest thing. And that, basically within a very short amount of time, I was like, I want to go be a treasure hunter. And also, has nobody written a book about this, like in a real big way? And so I kind of couldn't believe that. And I instantly, wanted to just tell the story of this was, the 2017 version, and everything that happened in those 7 years, and kind of, just what it was like when somebody drops a treasure hunt into the modern world and all the things that happen. So I very quickly decided that I just wanted to do that and, kind of tell the story of it. And I thought the best way to do that was to try to become a searcher, to really capture and understand the experience. It's really the same thing I did in my last book, and to try to just, feel those emotions and get to have those experiences and then tell people about them. So, do something of a bit of one and bit of other narrative, so that I could really be a part of the community and understand what goes into it, and just try to relate it. And then also, tell the larger story of treasure hunting and try to understand how this fits into the larger world, the larger narrative, all the context and all that. So I started doing that in 2017, and very quickly, was able to fortunately meet with Forrest and talk to a lot of searchers. And as to go to the first Fembury I went to was 2017, and then spent the next 3 years in it, just trying to understand and document and go on searches with different searchers and understand it all, and tag along and go on our own searches, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, as you noted, actually, as pretty much as I was finishing the book, which was open-ended, and I had kind of a wistful ending, and honestly, it was kind of crap. And then I kind of turned in a draft to my editor. This was the very end of May of 2020. And I was like, okay, and I'll work on some other stuff, and I'll try to, do some things, jump back on some little things I missed while they read the draft. And then, like 6, 7, 8 days later, boom, the world changes, and all of a sudden the find is announced. And I was like, it was like the worst thing at the time that had happened to my entire life. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? So at that point, I very quickly decided to just kind of rip up whatever the hell the ending was and try to build a new one and stay on top of what was going on and try to figure it all out and tell that story as best I could by following it along. And, you know, obviously it ended up being a great thing for me that happened on the time it did. I was actually incredibly lucky in retrospect, but you don't think that at the time.
Right, you
and
just
so,
panic, right?
yeah, no, I was absolutely panicked. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And so just kind of tried to adapt and, you know, then eventually ended up, you know, with obviously the more information came out and then Forrest passed and then Jack surfaced, or, you know, at the time the Finder surfaced, and I went and tried to figure out who he was and was able to contact him. And then, you know, the Outside Magazine article happened in December and I was able to write that and get him to agree to let me do that. And then, you know, in some ways that kind of brings us to now, you know, and then the book comes out. So, yeah, but so, yeah, it was not something that just came in the last 6 months or a year. I mean, really the process was in some ways supposed to be complete by then, you know, because a lot of people don't know books like of this type, you're supposed to basically be done with them like a year before they come out, which is crazy sounding, but it's very much the truth. And so that's kind of where we were here. And so the publisher was very much nice enough to let me be like, yeah, sorry guys, I'm screwed. I got to like write this thing up until like your absolute last day to push the button on it. And that's pretty much what happened.
Nice. Nice. Well, so let's get the two big conspiracies out of the way. Did you know Jack, and do you have the solution? Did you know Jack before this treasure hunt?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I had never heard of him, knew nothing of him, you know, knew zero of the guy. I know that like I've seen some stuff like because we were in media and, you know, lived near, I actually didn't even live in New York, but lived near New York at the same time he would have lived in New York, that we like somehow knew each other, but it just doesn't really work that way. No,
well,
I had never heard
you
of
lived
that.
in Philly where he lived last year. So did you relocated to Philly for all of this, right?
Oh, no. Philly's a place I've never lived. I do have some cousins there. It's a perfectly nice place.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I've never definitely never lived in Philly, but
so we can put that to rest. So
yeah, so all of that. Okay, so there's where we start.
Yep. Outside Boston guy. I know, don't really like the Red Sox, but it's fine. Anyway, yeah, no. So I had never heard of him, and it was not like anything, you know. When I didn't like read Wonkette or whatever he was doing back then. I was like a sports writer back then. I was lived in like the Yankee world. All I knew were other sports writers. The stuff he did just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
And you know, it was just like, yeah, I had no connection to the guy whatsoever. And then, you know, when this happened, yeah, you know, I got to know who he was, and then I went back and looked up all that stuff, and that was kind of like, oh, okay, interesting. But you know, I had no connection at all. So, and the other thing, great. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yes. Next thing. No, I do not know. What was it? What was it? Am I supposed to?
The solve.
No, I don't know the solve, and that was actually very intentional. So, you know, one of the things where, you know, getting him to talk to me and getting him to trust me and be okay with it was, you know, he didn't want to give that away, and I said, all right, I'm not going to ask you about it. I'm not going to try to sneak it out of you. That's not, you know, what. You don't want to do that, then that's not what I'm here to do. You know, if clearly that's your intention, that you don't want this thing coming out, I'm not going to try to pump you in for information. And I don't want to put myself in the position of knowing it and then having to like guard against that forever. And I also don't want to be in the position of people thinking that then I'm the conduit to like validate their solves, because that's not in my mind what I'm here to do. You know, I want to tell the story of this as best I can, but, you know, I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm permanently like on guard for, you know, having something come out and then I've screwed the whole thing up. Like, no, that I don't want that. You know, in theory, would I be curious to know, you know, the information about it? Yes, absolutely, of course. But you know, in the position I'm in, I you know, certainly getting him to talk to me about it was more valuable. And you know, honestly, it's you know, it's probably the best thing for me to not know. So no, I don't know. I have no idea where it is. You know, there are things I know about his process and the way he told me and all these different things, but I don't know where it is. And I have not put serious efforts toward figuring it out subsequent to talking to him about all this stuff.
Nice. Okay, so the big conspiracies are out of the way. So let's get to this guy named Jack. So you get in touch with him and he starts chit-chatting with you about, and it seems like you were like the source for him to be able to maybe have a little bit of a, you didn't just talk to him once. How many times did you talk to him over time to kind of prepare for this, or what's included in the book? It's just not one or two times. You talked.
No, not at all. No, I mean, from the time which started, which was, I guess, the end of September, you know, we went back and forth a lot. And honestly, so much of it was me trying to convince him to talk to me, you know, was trying to kind of say, look, here's what I'm doing. Here's why I think you should talk to me. Here's what this is, you know. at a certain point, he was like, well, I want to see the book. And I was like, I can't just send you the whole book. There's like contractual stuff. So I had to talk to my publisher, and I was like, can I send him the part that went out with the book, what's it called, book proposal, because that had technically seen the light of day in some circles before. So that would make him feel better and kind of see what I was trying to do. And so eventually they agreed to that. So I was able to send him a little bit of it. And I think he liked that, and that was good for me. But, we went back and forth about, like, a lot of my thoughts about the chase and about Forrest and about, just so many concepts around it. And then at various points, he would kind of ask other random questions. And then at one point he started talking baseball with me, because he knew that I had been a baseball writer for a long time. We ended up, talking about my Hall of Fame ballot. And I wrote like a very impassioned defense of why I vote the way I do, and this and this and that. And so, we went back and forth over a lot of stuff over, probably certainly a month before I felt like I was really getting any traction, honestly.
Mhm.
But that was the process. This was trying to get him to trust me to the point where, he was potentially willing to talk to me in any real way, any actual on the record way, instead of just, what I had at that time, which was effectively a bunch of emails with some guy who wasn't going to let me use them. So, that was cool, but not really useful from what I
Right.
needed to do, which was put this thing together. So, yeah, so I mean, I don't know exactly how many emails, but it was a lot,
Yeah.
and some of them were very long. But really, it was more me talking than him talking. It was me trying to kind of sell him on, like, here's why we should talk about this. Here's what, I'm trying to do, and here's what I want you to understand about it.
But it wasn't just phone calls. You actually Zoomed with him. Have you
No,
ever
no, it
met
wasn't.
him
No, it was
face to
emails.
face?
It was emails exclusively,
Oh,
for a long period of time.
okay. Have you ever met him face to face?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I
Okay.
did one. I did one very long, very, very long Zoom call with him where we did essentially all the on the record stuff and talked about all the stuff that's in the book. That's from one very long interview from December.
Nice. Okay. Okay. So let's get into the actual book, because you guys, I'm telling you, you have to buy this book just because it has so much detail. So I think the part that we as a community are interested in, those are, you have kind of a couple audiences, I think, for your book. It's a good book for someone who knows nothing about the chase, and then the people that are in the chase. So I'm going to fast forward a little to, okay, so Jack, he has this broken blaze he's trying to figure out. And I think that's something that all of us have been through of, what am I missing? There's something wrong. And this terrible searcher, even though a lot of people have admitted to doing exactly this, put out a fake blaze, but he knew he was in the right spot. And I think you articulated it really well in this book. But you, one of the articles, it said you can't figure out the logic to it, and neither can Jack. So what do you think about this fake blaze part? Because it really delayed our ending for 2 years. Do you think it's still out there? Do you think, what do you think about that?
In terms of it still being out there, I don't know about that. I'm not sure if I ever asked him that specifically. I mean, I'd have to go back and think about that, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't even know, actually. In terms of the fake blaze thing, yeah, I mean, that was weird when he first wrote about it in that first Medium thing, and then when I even got to ask him about it, the whole thing was still, I think it's weird to him. It's weird to me. He very much, but it was clearly very, very important to him, and in how he experienced, later actually finding the chest.
Yeah.
Because it really impacted him in the sense of, he said he had that punch in the gut moment, and he was walking towards it, and it, he could see it, and he's going towards it, and he's like, oh my God, this has to be it. And then, he's around there and he can't square it, because this is what would be a blaze to him, and yet there's no treasure, obviously, and there's nothing, and he can't find anything, and he's just going and going and going and going, and he can't figure anything out. And after a little while of doing that, and he eventually convinces himself, okay, this is not it. Somebody put this here for some reason that he can't exactly fathom. And I don't think he ever perhaps fully got to that, but I think he is very confident that it was intended to be a blaze. It was intended to either deceive or taunt or something. But that very much impacted him, when he actually then, did happen upon or happen to find the chest. He was like very wary instead of excited. He had all those emotions the first time, the like, oh my God, I'm gonna find it. It's here, and then the next time when he actually did really get to it, his feelings were very much, wariness, and I don't want to believe in this. And I remember, him telling me that it took him a while, even after opening it, even after, because he was like, people have made, fake representations of the chest. People have made other things. And so, he didn't want to believe it. Even after opening it, he was like, okay, the spider webs obviously told him something. And the huge amount of water told him something. And, the fact that like the rusty key, all that stuff told him, well, this thing has actually been here a long time. And, just the wear on it and all that started to make him understand, oh, this is actually the real thing. But, he still was so colored in that moment by the experience of the fake blaze.
Well, and you use the word paranoia, which if somebody, somebody's there, he knows somebody's there, they're at least within 1,000 feet because they made a fake blaze. He's like, there's replicas out there, etc. So he opens the box, he's still paranoid. So the first thing logically you would do is leave it for the night. Did you question him on that? Like, are you?
I have. What? I have said that to him. Absolutely. That is not the first thing I would do. My first thought is, you take that thing and you run the hell away with it and you go lock yourself in a bank vault somewhere. But that's not obviously what he did. I have discussed that with him, and I've been like, you understand that is not what most people, would think to do with that. And, I think just, and this is me somewhat putting words in his mouth here. This is my thought on what he thinks. But, I think he thought that he had just, he'd spent so much time out there and he, was not seeing people. And I understand the fake blaze was there. So clearly it wasn't like no one was ever in this area, obviously. But, in the spot where he was and where he ultimately found it, I just, he had spent 10 days combing the whole area on a previous search. He wasn't experiencing a lot of people around there. And, it was so hard for him to find it to begin with. He said to me at one point that he wasn't sure if he had actually stepped on the chest on a previous search out there, that he might have actually physically walked over it. He wasn't sure about that, but that might have been a thing he did, because he had definitely gone over that spot before, positively, no question.
Wow.
And
that would piss me off.
Oh yeah. So sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
But so that I think he had a certain degree of confidence that, since it had been so hard for him to actually see that first time, and then even the second time going through that area when he ultimately did see it, that he was pretty confident that it wasn't just going to be found in that way, and that's something he mentioned to me too, in the quote unquote nook, as he calls it, where, Forrest had put it, it's not flat ground. There's a slight depression there. And then over the years, all this stuff had kind of gone into that depression. And, Fenn didn't bury the chest, but to some extent the elements did, because, of the way the topography was and the stuff that just kind of came in there over time. So I think, and again, this is me, my words, not his words, but I think he was confident that, nobody was going to happen upon this thing. And it had taken him this long, believing he knew where it was, to finally get to it, that he felt pretty secure in that. Now, again, I don't know if I would have done that, but I'm not him. So
yeah. Well, one of our searchers, because he is emailing so many searchers, emailed him, can we see the instructions that were in the chest to retrieve it? And his answer was very interesting. He said, no, I don't want to release any of the legal documentation. Now, I know you got to inventory the chest. Were you able to see that instructions, or is that separate?
Was there anything in the chest, like a legal?
No, when I saw the chest, there was nothing in the chest that was, paperwork, legal, anything like that. There was treasure in the chest, and that was it when I was there. And the autobiography.
Okay. And so now he goes back, and he also told somebody he had a big bottle of wine. He got a very expensive bottle of wine to celebrate.
He actually didn't tell me that. That's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And everybody's, of course, where do you get an expensive bottle of wine in Wyoming? Because that's what searchers do. He emails Forrest, but he just doesn't email Forrest generically. He says, and it's in your book.
Yeah.
The 2010 memoir, just in case Forrest didn't know it was 2010. I'm thinking, and I just want to get your general thoughts. I'm thinking these were, Forrest always said he looked for emails with certain keywords. Do you know if he crafted that email in a way that maybe were instructions of how to?
Oh no, that's funny. That's not what I thought about it. Having talked about it, honestly, when he talked about it, he was almost like, like he thought he had kind of done a bad job, that he had kind of envisioned writing this email for so long. And so it came out really stilted, that he
Nice.
just, he was writing really awkwardly. So, cause it's almost like, you're writing a really important cover letter to a job you really want kind of thing. And so you end up, kind of overdoing it. That was the impression I had from him. Not that he was trying to put, code words in it or anything, but he was just, like,
Interesting.
dear sir or madam, it is very important to me that I get this job. And so I will, show you my, the way I properly write it. That was really
Oh,
more what I
interesting.
took from him.
Okay.
So not that he was really trying to put specific words in so that Fenn would see it, but I think he did want it to seem official, like not just, hey, Fenn, I found your chest, but like, look,
Right.
I got this thing here, is some level to take me seriously. So.
Right. That's great. Well, so then he gets the permission, he picks it up. Now he goes by Walmart and he's super concerned that, like he races through it in your book to make sure he gets back to the chest, doesn't hit a drive-through, but then takes a detour to a national park, like a mini vacation. Let me just stop before I see. What? Help
Yes.
us out here. What?
I know. I thought that was funny too. I think he got a kind of a kick out of it, like a kind of a kick out of being like, I'm, right. When he's Walmart, when I have to imagine there were a lot of people around, I don't really know, but it's kind of like, the chest is not near me. I got to get back to it, but then he's like, what the hell? I can go see this place I wanted to see. And I don't know where that was, by the way. But that, he just kind of thought he could. And then he, I left the chest, I assume, in the car. He's not following it around with him. So, the kind of, he could do that. I think he might have gotten like a little bit of a Forrest Fennian sense of, ha 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 out of this, out of being able to do that. So.
Wow. Yeah. That's where I just went, So you just said you do not know the national park he went to.
No, I don't. No.
Do you know the route that he went to
No.
see Forrest?
Nope.
Okay.
Because that's the kind of thing where, again, we were very clear, and he did not want me to know where it was. And,
Yep.
That's why there's a lot of things I don't know. And there's spots where he would have to say, like, I would ask him something and say, I can't tell you that because of this and that, and a lot of that stuff is stuff I would like to know, and stuff that probably, some of it would have been revealing, maybe some of it wouldn't, I don't know. But, there were a lot of times when he would just, kind of put the brakes on it, and I would have to say, okay, I'll try something different now. That's something I don't know the route. I don't know that.
So let's switch from Jack now to Forrest.
Mm-hmm.
So Jack's driving there and there's this explosion, or as Cynthia Meacham would put it, where the shit hits the fan at Forrest's house. So did you talk with Forrest either about that incident at his house, with a searcher in and all that detail that you gave, which I thought was great? Did you ever get an interview after that with Forrest to know how he was feeling? Did you confirm any of those pieces? What was that like? What was Forrest like at that time, or did you know?
I don't know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I had corresponded with Forrest not a terribly long before the chest was found, kind of just trying to set up times to potentially talk again in the summer or whatever. But then the chest was found and everything went to shit. And so, right, as and so, at that point, I emailed him a few times and, trying to set up stuff, but, I was kind of lumped in with all the media he didn't want to talk to at that point, and generally he would, for the most part, get back to me. But at that time it was like, not going to talk right now, and so I was kind of letting it kind of calm down a little bit and trying to just like, okay, let's get to this time here. And then we all know what happened. Really, honestly, like almost exactly around time, I was like, okay, I'm going to wait till after Labor Day. And then I'm going to say, Forrest, we really got to like talk in a real interview way again, which we would do about, 2 to 3 times a year. Then Forrest died. And so, that was the next moment of like, oh, and obviously I was sad he died. And then I was also like, oh, I'm screwed, so those things were in concert there. And so, no, I did not talk to him about any of that stuff specifically at all. Okay. So I don't know what he thought about it or felt about it.
Now, Jack has said he only met with Forrest that one time with the treasure chest, and he wasn't able to get back. Do you know if it was legal reasons? I mean, we're not talking a couple weeks. It's 4 months that he had. Now, we didn't know that Forrest was going to pass at the time, so there's always hindsight. But was there a legal reason he wasn't meeting with him? I mean, Forrest was basically telling him, move to Santa Fe. I want to meet. And Jack's like, I can't. What was that dynamic like? What was their relationship
I don't know
like?
of any legal reason that would be the case. Obviously, pandemic travel is not the easiest thing. Mm-hmm. I don't have any awareness of anything legal that would have prevented that. I know that they got together during that week. Obviously, after Jack drove to Santa Fe, various that stuff there. But I don't know of any reason why anything that would have prevented him.
Okay.
Per se, it just may have been something that didn't happen.
Okay. Now, Mike, let's take a hard stop for a second. Do we have questions from the room? Super chat questions.
We got some super chats. Thank you, everybody who super chatted. Ben Napple, I think we kind of answered your question. Basically, his was if you could speak to the disparity between Jack's paranoia and yet he leaves it overnight, goes to Walmart and goes to the park. I think we've talked about that. Thank you for that super chat. Copper Dan with the big super chat says, thank you for writing the book, even though you're a searcher, LOL. He wants to know, is there anywhere, do you plan on doing any book signings? Can anybody get a signed book from you? Or Jack.
Jack, I don't think so. I don't know, but so I mean, it's funny because if this was like normal world, I would probably be in Santa Fe this week doing like book signings there and stuff, but it's not, unfortunately. So you have to do kind of these, virtual book signings and virtual events. And I know that there are, there's what's called like book plates where I can sign them and then can send them to people, that kind of stuff. And I'm obviously happy to do that. I don't know exactly the process for that. I have to talk to my publisher people, but look, once the world normalizes, I would be thrilled to do actual in-person book signings. Those are honestly the fun part of this thing. You get to talk to people who, like or don't like your book or whatever, and, sign it and So I would love to do that. I can't right now, unfortunately, but, hopefully maybe, 6 months or something, I can go to Santa Fe or something and do something like that. I'd be thrilled. So in the meantime, there are these things called book plates, and they have a little, Penguin Random House or Knopf logo, and I sign it and they stick it on the front of the book, and you have kind of a signed version, but it's not the best because it's not like personalized signed. So I don't know. Yes, but it might be better if you wait a little, I guess. Short version.
Yeah, we tried to get ours signed and we got that from your publicist stuff. It is just a weird time. So eventually I'm going to say, yes, the world's going to go back. Okay, so let's go.
We got a couple more from the chat. I want to get through them because they've already gone by. So give me real quick. Have you ever worked on a treasure hunt before this one? This is from Bobby D. Yes or no?
No. I never had. No. Unless you count being a 5-year-old and hiding stuff in rocks and stuff. No, I have never done anything actual treasure hunt yet.
Chill Chaser says he wants to know if you will go on the record to say you never talked to Jack before December 2020.
No, I talked to Jack in September 2020 when I first reached out to him. And I sent that thing, the Medium post, the typo flag.
Nice.
On record, swear to God, please put my hand up here, right? I never communicated or had any knowledge of Jack Stoof before I sent that mess. No, well, before he did the Medium post.
Okay.
I had never heard of him. I never communicated with him. I had nothing to do with him. He was a person who did not exist in my life.
We've beat the horse.
Just
Mike, I have about,
just 3
more. I have like 50 other people who are, go ahead, Mike.
Mary Green wants to know, how did you find out about the Medium article? The first one that Jack wrote.
I don't remember exactly where I first saw it, but that was making the rounds. I mean, I was aware enough in the chase that, that kind of stuff was around. It was like there was there, I'm trying to, geez, how did I find out about that? Is that like something on Doug Preston's site or something? I don't actually remember where I first saw it.
Okay.
But I think it was probably on one of the message boards. Somebody was linking to it or something, because I would check those, once a week-ish, I would say. And so I didn't see it right away. I probably saw it, I don't know, a day or two after it came up. But I went and looked at it and I was like, oh, this feels real to me. So, I honestly don't remember where I first saw it. But I didn't see it long after it posted.
Okay, take it away, Capro.
So, let's get into, so you went from really having to work with Jack to kind of trust you to Jack now says you can go and look at the treasure chest, which has to be amazing. So, and the timing I think is interesting because you said it was just after Peggy passed. So this is before you actually knew his name.
That's right.
But he said you could go and see the chest. Mike pointed that out today. So you now have the rapport with him, but not the name. You didn't have the name until in December. Wow. Okay. So, but you didn't only go and touch it and visit it. You actually inventoried and took pictures of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, so first, to just deal with that part. Yeah, that was super weird. And I kind of had to, I had to trust that this guy who I've been talking to for the last, not quite a month, I don't think at that point, but that period of time was actually who I thought he was and wasn't just sending me on some complete wild goose chase. And that was a little bit scary. So, but it obviously turned out to be right, but I definitely had to trust in that. You know, obviously, like, you know, I talked to the lawyer who he directed me to before I flew out there, and that was a big layer of, okay, this is on the level, you know. And I wasn't really worried about it, to be honest, but there was still that moment of like, am I going to get there and somebody's gonna be like, who the hell are you? And you just flew across the country and you're the biggest sucker in the world. There was definitely a level of that.
I've done that.
Yeah. Okay. Flown across the country being the biggest sucker in the world. That's amazing. But,
yeah, no, we went up because we thought somebody was told us, oh, I have Jack solved. And no, we got in the car. We did a whole show. We were source that shall not be named. So, but now, did you do the inventory and pictures for any reason? Another book? They're not in your book. So another book.
No, it's actually funny. I will say a funny thing that I've come to a little bit regret. So whenever I met with Forrest, you know, he would kind of run through a lot of the same things. You know, where are you at on the book? This is it. And you say, are you going to put pictures in the book? And I was like, Forrest, I don't think so. I don't think it's that kind of book. You know, I don't really have any good pictures. I don't have, you know, I should just be like me and my idiot search partner, like wandering the wilderness and some like bad pictures from Barbarisi. I don't think I should put pictures. And he was like, oh, you should have pictures in your book. Pictures are great. People love pictures in their book. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And in the end, he was right. I should have had pictures in my book. I actually ended up having amazing pictures because they were like treasure pictures, and I didn't have, it was too late by that point, you know, to like get things in that direction. And so, yes, Forrest, you were right. So nice job on that one. Bad job, me. But no, so I mean, you know, it's funny. When I went in there and I started taking pictures of it, just because I was like, look, I've got like basically an hour with this thing. This is an opportunity essentially nobody gets. I have to make the most of it. You know, what do you do? And so, you know, I just started taking stuff out of the chest and just trying to put it there and see everything. And, you know, this part, you know, I certainly describe in the book, but, you know, it's kind of a crazy and cool feeling to be taking things out of a treasure chest, and you kind of hope you never get to the bottom, because, you know, you don't want to get to the bottom of the chest. It's almost like you want it to go endlessly. But eventually, obviously, I did get it to the bottom, and I believe, you know, the mirrors were the thing at the bottom, and, you know, you have it all then arrayed on the table in front of you. And at that point, it's like, okay, I put it all there carefully, and it's like, all right, I guess I should try to kind of like catalog this thing, you know, I guess I should just try to see what's in it, because nobody has had the opportunity I've had, so I shouldn't waste it. And then, you know, so I was doing all that and just taking pictures and trying to go over every item and really, you know, feel things and handle them and, you know, kind of count the coins and just try to get a handle on what everything was. And, you know, I think the only thing I didn't actually take out of its bag was the Tarona Sinew necklace, because that just seemed too fragile, and I didn't want to mess with it. I just kind of looked at it. I opened the bag and kind of looked at it. And then, you know, the dragon bracelet was definitely the most impressive thing. That was the, you know, of all the things, they're all obviously very cool, but the one that really takes your breath away is the bracelet. You know, that's the one that's just, it's so impressive. And it's
now, what about the large disc? Did that large disc fit in? Did you have to bend
No, there were 3 of them, actually. It's funny because I think he had said there were 2, and it turned out there were 3. And they did fit. They fit at the bottom, and you know, they didn't exactly fill the whole bottom of the chest, but they were, you know, kind of close. And right, and those were the cold, you know, the pre-Columbian mirror, or just the gold mirrors, sorry. And those were really cool, and you could kind of see yourself in them a little bit, you know, if you looked at it. You know, they were obviously still dirty, but, you know, Jack had done a reasonably good job, it seemed, of cleaning a lot of this stuff off. And so, you know, just was kind of going through it. And then the funny thing is, like, I wasn't thinking of it. Look, I mean, you know, you can say I'm an idiot, but like, I wasn't thinking about this afterwards, like what I was going to do with these pictures. It was more just like, okay, I should take lots of pictures of this thing, and I should kind of like document it. And then the lawyers were like, do you want us to take pictures with you to like prove you were here? And I was like, oh my God, I definitely need to do that. Like it didn't occur to me initially, but I was like, yes, no one will believe this happened unless I get pictures of this. This is like, you know, yes, thank you. So they took, you know, a bunch of pictures of me with it, and, you know, just kind of seeing that I was there, and I was like, okay, I kind of, you know, I'll just kind of stand here and look goofy. And that's what I did. And so, you know, from that point, like, you know, it was like my time was up basically. And I tried to repack the chest, as I explained, and it's way harder than you think it is. And like, you know, I guess Fenn did a good job, but he had practice and I didn't. So, you know, I tried to do it the right way, quote unquote. And, you know, just kind of did it and gave it back to them. And I was like, thanks, I guess I'll go now.
Bye. That was
around
awesome.
Santa Fe for a while. Like, that was crazy.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Now, are the scissors that we have one 3D bronze who loves the scissors? We didn't see the scissors in the one. We can't see everything. I know we're going to see a new one tonight. Are the pictures all going to come out? And did you see those scissors?
Wait, let me. Jesus Christ! I know this is going to sound so stupid, but like, did I see the scissors? I think I saw the scissors. Like,
and the stick.
The key. I definitely saw the key.
Yeah, the key was on there.
Yeah. I think I saw the scissors. I never
Okay.
actually.
Any
Go through
idea?
Well,
the
we'll
field.
see with pictures. We'll see.
And
with
that was a
pictures.
super chat from 3D Bronze. Any idea why the scissors were in there? Did Jack ever say or? Any
No. Well, maybe he did. I have to go back through that. I think he asked Fenn why the scissors were in there, and I'm not sure if he got a good answer. I don't want to say because I honestly don't remember. That's the kind of thing I'd have to go back and look at. You know, like when Jack and I talked, it was like 4 hours or something like that.
Right, right.
There's a lot of little details on things like that that I do have, but I have to go back to remind myself of.
Okay. Okay.
But
Well, we'll invite you back after you go through all this
Sure.
media frenzy. So you did say that the bracelet was sold. Do you know, and I'm assuming
To
it's for legal
Forrest.
reasons, it wasn't gifted or whatever. Do you know how much it was sold for? Was it like,
No.
here's $1 just to be symbolic, or?
I don't, my guess, and it is purely a guess, this has
Okay.
nothing based on information, is that it was probably some decent amount of money, like not $1, you know, because
Okay.
my guess is that like Forrest understood how difficult it was going to be to liquidate this thing. And that, you know, my guess, and this is purely a guess, was that he would want the finder to have some sort of money so they didn't feel like, you know, that they had to get rid of the chest right away and do it like badly,
Oh,
you know,
that's
or
smart.
in a situation that wasn't advantageous to them. And so I have not talked to Jack about what he sold it for. I do not know. I don't know if it's a lot, it's a little, but that is my guess, is that Forrest would actually give him more than zero for it, because that would help the finder to, you know, not have to worry about selling the chest so fast if they otherwise didn't have assets.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. I never thought of it that way. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Maybe Forrest did think of everything. Okay.
Do you know if Jack's seen the chest since the find? It seems to me that he's been gone in hiding, kind of thing.
You know, he may have, he may not have, I do not know.
Okay, so why don't we look at super chats of a couple of questions as we move on to our next.
Yeah, we had a couple. Real quick. Do you know why Jack let you see the treasure? And I can't remember if you talked about this. Why Jack let you see the treasure before when he was still anonymous? Do you have any inkling on why he let you go see it?
I mean, I certainly let him know that. So like these are my guesses. This is not anything he has told me. You know, I had certainly let him know that it would be like something amazing to me to see it, obviously. You know, like for my purposes, I would think that was so cool. And it was funny. We ended up in a conversation where he was like, you know, I don't want you to be, you know, to think it was like a waste of time to fly across the country to see the chest. I was like, are you kidding? This would be like the most amazing thing in the world to get to do that. You know, for me, it was like the greatest thing that ever happened, obviously. You know, my guess is, you know, having me see it served as some level of, you know, validation, not validation, but like reinforcement, you know, to prove that everything was there, you know, that this all happened, you know, that he had possession of it, all that kind of stuff. And at the time, obviously, you know, he probably didn't know if he was going to need to remain anonymous, because clearly he wanted to remain anonymous. You know, that wasn't his goal, was not to be that. So, you know, then if I exist in some way to be like, I saw this thing, anonymous finder guy, let me see the thing. I don't know who he is, but I can confirm that anonymous finder guy put me in touch with lawyer person, and lawyer person showed me chest.
Right.
So, you know, that is a level of confirmation from, you know, independent me, who, yes, had no connection to Jack before September of 2020. So, you know, I imagine that he saw that as useful in his mind in that way. And I think, you know, look, I think he, you know, there was some desire in his mind potentially to try to, you know, do me a solid, you know, that he saw how much it would mean to me. And, you know, this would be a good thing, maybe for everybody. I don't know. But, you know, it was obviously very much a good thing for me. I don't think he perhaps even understood how much so, but he was like, you know, clearly huge for me. I was like, dude, this is my ending. So
Right.
Right.
That's awesome.
Okay, just two more. When's the last time you were in Myrtle Beach? Is from one of the searchers.
I think I was in Myrtle Beach on a teen tour, if you guys remember or know what those were, in 1993. It might have been 1994, but I remember going to Myrtle Beach, and I remember I went fishing and I read Jurassic Park. So whatever year Jurassic Park, the movie had come out, it was like the same year that was. So, and it was a teen tour.
What a good answer.
Specific.
Yeah, it was called Rhine Teen Tours, REIN, and it took a bus all the way up to Canada, went to like, you know, Montreal and Quebec, went all the way down the East Coast, went to Myrtle Beach, and ended up in Disney World. So that is the last time I was in Myrtle Beach, as far as I know.
All right, just two more.
You
We
ask
had
the
a good
question,
one
you get the answer.
Yeah, I think we had a good one from Goldilocks. Did Jack get an advance copy, and did he ask you to change anything in the book before it came out?
I did send him an advance copy. He did not ask me to change anything.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
I think by the time I sent it to him, there was really no way to change it anyway, honestly.
Okay.
You know, like once I got printed copies, one of the first things I did was send one to him.
Right.
So, but that's pretty late in the process.
So you didn't let him kind of do an edit. It was really too late.
No, I mean, there's contractual reasons I couldn't do that. You know,
Okay.
I mean, I would actually potentially put myself in breach of contract by doing that.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, K-Pro.
Okay, so there's a lot of conspiracy theories about why didn't Forrest congratulate the finder? He never went back. Did you believe that there was a positive relationship between Forrest and Jack, or was it really maybe not? It may be very business-like, or what? Do you know? Do you have any insight on kind of what that looked like?
When you say positive relationship, what do you mean? I just want to understand the.
Maybe not negative. Some
Oh,
believe.
as in like they liked each other?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I actually think they liked each other a lot. You know, from talking to Jack, I think, you know, he loved the time he got to spend with Forrest. And, you know, from talking to Jack, I think that from what Jack told me, you know, Forrest loved that he got to talk to somebody who was able to know him well enough to solve his riddle, you know, to understand where he wanted to go and die, and to understand his poem and his book and his motivations well enough to figure it all out. This is, you know, what Jack told me, not what Forrest told me, but
Yeah.
I think that based on what Jack told me, you know, Fenn really, really enjoyed getting to have that experience. You know, it's funny in, you know, a lot of the other, some of the more general interviews I've done on this, you know, people ask a lot, you know, do you think Fenn wanted it found before he died, et cetera? I know there's a lot of thoughts both ways on that. I think that Fenn, you know, my feeling on that is that Fenn was a little bit disappointed that it was found before he died, but at the same time, he really enjoyed getting the experience of being able to meet the finder and talk with the finder, whoever it ended up being, and getting to go over all that stuff. And that actually ended up meaning a lot to him. So I think, you know, a little bit of both sides of that, you know, you could have disappointment about the larger outcome, but also happiness that he got to experience that.
Yeah, that mixed feeling. So Shiloh came in our chat last week and he said, we asked him about your book, and his response was, there are some issues with that expose. Do you know what issues he refers to?
I don't. And honestly, even the characterization of it as an expose, I think I'm kind of, that's not what I was trying to write. And, you know, anyone who's read the book, I don't think would probably see it that way. So no, I don't really know at all.
Did Forrest Fenn's family get an advance copy of the book as well? Or no?
They did not. I actually emailed Shiloh and, you know, said, I'd like to talk about this if you want. And I was, you know, prepared to send them one, but he never got back to me on it at that stage. So no, I didn't, didn't have the ability to do that. So I would have been happy to.
So is there anything that you believe Jack was untruthful, meaning like he's trying, would he just say, no, I'm not going there? Or was there anything, because there's a couple things like, I left the chest for the night, or other things that almost seem unbelievable. Is there anything that you kind of went, okay, I'll take that, but I'm not sure if that's exactly the truth? Is there anything like that?
You know, look, when I would ask Jack questions and he didn't want to answer them, he would generally tell me, I'm not going to answer that, you know, and he did a lot of that, quite frankly. There's a lot of things that I would have liked to know about that he just didn't answer for me. Okay. So, you know, for the most part, in my experience, you know, if somebody's going to do that, if they understand well enough to do that, then they're not going to put themselves in a position to be caught in a lie. But, you know, I also have to, you know, I can't say anything for certain, you know, but when I would ask him things and he didn't want to answer them, he wouldn't answer them.
He's just kind of a straight shooter, it sounded like. Do you know, this was a very popular question, so I'm going to ask, even though I probably know the answer is, I don't know. Do you know if it was inside or outside of the park? Just generally speaking, inside the park, outside the park. Okay.
So it was not inside the park, straight from Dan. No, I'm sorry. You said you don't know, right? I'm just kidding.
Goodbye. No, I have no idea. I mean, like, I have absolutely no idea where in Wyoming it was.
If Jack offered to tell you, would you want him to tell you? If it was keep it a secret, would you want to know?
Well, I mean, we kind of went over that, and I discussed, like, it's tough because, you know, would me of December have wanted that? I don't know, versus me of now. You know, it's like, it's a hard question because, again, I don't want to set myself up as then being the person that everybody goes to, and everybody.
How do you keep it a secret? I mean,
right? You know, and then like I don't want to put myself in that position, you know, of being somebody who they think is easier to get the information out of than Jack or something. And if somebody really wants the information, that's not a place I necessarily want to be. So, well, intellectually and emotionally, I am curious about it. Absolutely. There's a lot I would like to know. I don't know if it's, is it the best thing I could do for myself? I don't know. So, but I would definitely, curious me would like to know, but rational me isn't sure if he should know.
Right. And this is interesting. Maui Bob says, if Shiloh didn't get an advance copy, how did he know that there are issues with it? Oh, that's a really interesting question.
I wonder if it was rumors floating around of the book.
Yeah, I bet too it was.
I can't speak to that. It's not like there weren't advanced copies out in the world,
Right,
there are other
right.
people
That's true.
Could have, so I don't know.
So Jack found it kind of alone, but he went on all these other searches. Did he have a search partner, anybody he was working with to kind of solve the poem, or boots on the ground that you know of?
I don't believe he ever went searching with anybody else at all. And generally speaking, he was, he was very much a lone wolf searcher. He would, he said he was on the Reddit a lot. He wasn't really on the blogs or the forums a lot. That just wasn't his thing. I think he tried to even stay off the Reddit to some extent, although he was on it, I think, a fair amount from what I understand. But no, I mean, as far as I know, he worked alone. He saw it as, to some degree, a solitary pursuit. And, I don't think he thought he was going to get ideas from other people that were better than what he had, because he believed, so early on, really, I think it was about 2 months after he started, in his self. And even when he would try to go and do, like alternative theories to kind of put himself off his spot after he'd been to his spot in his area, a couple of times, he just couldn't find anything. He definitely kept trying to say, okay, is it somewhere else? Almost trying to disprove the negative. And he kept coming back to that place. And so, I don't think he thought he needed or wanted somebody else's input. He still thought he had the right idea, and he wanted to go and find the thing. And, it just took a lot of time before he was able to do that.
Well, we affectionately call it nudge gate. So Jack is a searcher. I think he's made that obvious with his YouTubes, and he called into AGK, et cetera. He was a searcher. But with the explosion happening, Forrest dying so quickly after, some people believe Forrest got, or either Forrest or someone gave Jack a little nudge to make sure this was over before the ending. And I almost feel like through the journey of your book, you kind of doubted a little bit. And then now you're like, Jack, I think we all know Jack's the finder, but do you have any inkling that there was a nudge, or there was a forced ending? There was something that kind of helped him along?
No, I have no knowledge of that, and no reason to think that would be the case. It's just not something that is in my head at all. Okay. You're definitely right that I had doubts, before, when we were all kind of in the same boat of that, June period of like, why do we have no information? What the hell's going on here? Why is he telling us nothing? What's the deal? And then, right. And then there's the part, in the book where I got to talk to Cynthia, and, she's telling me all that information. And, I think of each of these parts of the book as, this is moments in time. This is what I was feeling at the time. I was trying to capture, this is what people were feeling at the time, and obviously as information changes, our feelings on things change, and they should. Just because Cynthia thought that back then doesn't mean she thinks that now. And just because I thought that back then doesn't mean I thought that as soon as the Medium post came out,
Right.
That very dramatically changed my thinking very quickly, definitely, for sure. I was like, after, what Cynthia told me, and just kind of, talking with Beep and all this kind of stuff, and various other stuff was happening. I was like, I don't know what really happened here. I don't feel good enough about it to know, and I'm talking about over the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
But then, once Forrest died, and, and once the Medium post came out, I was like, oh man, no, okay, let's throw all that stuff out the window, and let's find out what really happened here.
Nice. Well, and so Jack went from very shy. He didn't even want his name out. Some question why he didn't at least have his lawyers file a motion to try to kind of overcome that. But putting that aside, he now engages with so many searchers over months of time. So he's kind of gone from one extreme, not quite to the other, because he hasn't done any live interviews and things. But why is he engaging, or why do you think he's engaging with so many searchers? He won't give the solve, but he'll give so many. Oh, here's some info about Homa Brown. Here's some info about WWW. Why do you think he does that?
I honestly believe that Jack feels a responsibility, that he knows that he ended something that means so much to so many people. And so he feels a responsibility to kind of do right by them, to, kind of try to give them, if he can help in any small way, a sense of closure. or at least, a feeling of, that kind of, I don't know, we're all in this together or whatever, but, just trying to do the right thing by them, because, he thinks of himself as somebody who, if he hadn't found it, he would probably want to be able to ask questions of the person who did. And he sees himself as, a part of the search, obviously, a part of the search community. And so I think he feels that that's the right thing to do. And, I don't think he wants to be very public about it, in terms of talking about, live and that kind of stuff. But, individual searchers where, it can kind of be a contained, controlled thing. And, somebody really wants to know something, if he can tell it to them without, going over the boundaries, he is very clear and set. And Jack is clearly very good at setting boundaries. He has been with me. He has been with everybody. I think he wants to do that. I think he was, generally speaking, when we talked about this in the winter, I think a little bit pleased by the response. I think he thought there was going to be, just a lot of hate, and not that there wasn't some, and, whether, that's fair or not, there was, but I think he was worried it was going to be, universal anger, and it wasn't that. And, that's cool. And, then I think he felt, both the responsibility there, and then just maybe a desire to be, to be kind and nice, and, to do what he could for people.
Okay. So Mike, let's go back to super chat questions. I have a couple more questions, but I wanted to give a chance, because I know we have just gone over the 400 person mark. So thank you guys all for being here. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and Ben Napple, thank you for the super chats. He says, great interview, guys. Dan, you were best yet. Should put a lot of conspiracies to bed. This is the closest to the fun ending we all hope for. But Ben also had another question about the Emerald Ring. He asked, is Jack given any indication that he left anything behind, like maybe the Emerald Ring? And that's why he doesn't want to give out the solution. He wants somebody to find it on their own behind him.
I am definitely sure that Jack does not want anyone to find anything behind him. I can say that pretty certainly. The other part I'm not exactly sure about, but I can pretty safely say Jack does not want anyone to go like searching for things he left or something. That's not. I could feel pretty confident about that. So,
Rudy Green said,
one thing though, I did bring the picture. Do you want to go over the picture before I have to go? I do want to leave enough time for that. I figure that's kind of a cool thing, right? No.
In the next, we're going to do 4-minute warning, guys.
Bust out some questions and do that.
Yeah, because we are going to see a never before seen picture
of the chest contents.
Of the chest contents. So, or
of some of the chest contents.
Yeah, you sent a picture, and we're all going to see what that is. One word answer from Rudy Green: who would beat you in a fight, Forrest, Jack, or Cynthia?
Cynthia for sure.
That's what everybody in the chat said.
Yeah, I think, and I'm not insulting Jack to say this, but I think I could take Jack. And look, Forrest, we're talking about. He's dead. I could beat him now. I still think maybe 90-year-old Forrest, could have had, look, he was a wily dude. But Cynthia's a badass, and and she knows I think that. And again, when we were tromping around the wilderness together, she was definitely, with the exception of jumping, I can outjump her. I think we proved. But other than that, she is very, very, very strong for whatever age she happens to be.
I agree. Mike, any others before I have a couple more?
Last one. And thank you for the super chats, everybody. I'm sure I missed a couple. That's on me. From Ryan, which conspiracy theory had the most merit in your mind? Is there any one conspiracy theory that maybe you thought about? Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, I honestly don't want to be in a position of kind of dignifying, individual ones. That's just not where I want to go. It's fine. Look, I fully understand how when we don't have enough information, there's a desire to fill that vacuum. And again, I've done it too, I have, and it's natural. It makes sense. But I just don't believe there's some gigantic conspiracy at play here. Nothing that I have seen has led me to think that. It's just, I don't think that's what's the case here. And look, do I know everything about everything? I do not. But, I'd like to think I'm one of the more informed people in this thing, and I just haven't seen anything that sends me in that direction. And again, I was willing to go down that road before more information came out, and having been there and done the things I've done and talk, I just don't see it. I just don't. But I understand. I do understand it, but I don't see it. I don't really want to dignify individual ones, honestly.
And just the last one, and then K-Bro, you take it away. And that is, are you still in contact with Jack today? You guys still go back?
Last we texted 2 days ago, I guess. So not today.
Yeah, but recently. Okay.
Technically not
All right.
today. So
Thank
why
you,
do you
everybody.
think
Yeah, go ahead.
so why do you think Jack is so limited with the information? Like he doesn't want to put out an interview, but he's only put out one boots on the ground picture. He says he can't remember if there's more, which obviously there's more. Like why do you think, like you said, he drew a line? Why do you think he drew the line where he is? If he had just a couple more confirmers, I think a lot of reasonable people would be like, conspiracies are gone. But he has set a pretty specific line. Why do you think that is?
That's a good question. I actually don't know why he chose to draw it where he did. It might have just been, he decided this was the place that was going to be the easiest for him to kind of defend, I guess. And I don't mean defend in like, he has to justify himself, but if you're going to draw, if you're going to build your fortress somewhere, and his fortress was that I'm not going to give it, the location, then I guess, you set your walls wherever you think you have to best put them. I don't know exactly, but I'd have to think it was some version of that. But, look, Jack and I don't think he would feel insulted by my saying this, but Jack is a stubborn guy. And that is part of, I think, why he found the treasure. And, I think he's somebody who, in some ways, in light is like Forrest in that regard, is that, once he commits to something, he just commits to it, and it was very much the same, certainly what he told me of his solve, that, even when he couldn't find the thing, it didn't make him doubt his solve was wrong. It made him doubt that Fenn even put it out there, which is not how I did it. When I was like, my solve is wrong, I'm like, I'm an idiot, so, and that was proven time and again. But, Jack never had that. He had a real degree of certainty about it and a conviction. And I absolutely believe that is, one of the qualities that led him to find the chest.
Okay. Now I have two last questions, and then Mike, whatever you want to do.
You
And then
guys
we'll
will do
get to
last
picture.
questions.
We got to do the
Question,
picture.
part 1, part 2, part 7. I'm okay with it.
So one of the things that you say in the book, or maybe it's a press release, was there are some things that you have off the record from Jack. We know that that's not the solution, because you have said
I don't know.
15 times just tonight you don't know the solution. What else is off the record?
Well, I couldn't tell you that because then it would be not
generally speaking, not specifically speaking. Is there anything that
the reality is I take that stuff very seriously. I'm not gonna. There are other things in the book from other people that are off the record, and if they were off the record, they're not in the book. And I'm not gonna, go down some dance of, it's about this, and I can't tell you. I can't do that. That's just not how that stuff works. You protect your sources and all that. But I will say that, generally speaking, there is nothing that I know that makes me doubt that Jack is the finder, or that any of the basics of what we know is in any way, wrong, different, any of that kind of stuff. I would say, generally speaking, everything I know about everything makes me feel more certain, not less, about everything that is out there.
And Logan must be looking at my notes, because the last question is, what was the fake blaze? That just
I don't know. I actually went over before we came on. I actually went over that part of the interview because I was like, I want to go back to that he and I did, and I see that I asked him that specifically, and he was like, I just can't, because if I told you that, it would tell too much. And I was like,
okay.
And I remember thinking that at the time.
But
yes, no, I don't know what the fake place was.
Would tell too much.
Nice.
Okay, let's go to the picture. Is that all right with everybody? So thank you very much, Daniel, for coming on, and thank you for sharing this picture. First, we got to do this. It is breaking news, everybody. Never before seen picture. Tell us what we're looking at here, Daniel.
Okay,
sure. Cool.
Yeah, so what we have here, 1 second, let me just make sure I've got it. Okay, so right, what are those? Isn't that a great question? That was my first, that was one of my first questions. Like, there's a lot of things here we know what they are. But there's some things we don't. And so I want to make sure, because I actually asked Jack about some of this stuff after, because I was like, what is going on here? So I think let's go to those things later, what I'll call the nuclear silos.
Okay.
And so,
that's what the nuclear. Okay, I was like,
that was them, right?
Okay. And so, so you see the Chinese, carved jade faces in the little, I don't know what we're going to call that thing, the plastic thing over there,
like beetles, Okay. Oh yeah, I see the face. There it is. Okay.
There, right? Yeah. So, then we've got, the two kind of, hold on, where is my? Because I want to go back to the email that I sent Jack to make sure I have, good descriptions of these things.
And there's K-Pro's frog that she doesn't have yet.
Yeah, right. So okay. So the interesting thing is that
right. Did you hear him? He said right. Sorry, I'm so
that was the off the record with Jack. Anyway.
Yeah, Jack said. Well, and here's a question about the other frog. You said that it was given to the lawyer. Some people thought that meant it was gifted to the lawyer.
No. Oh God, no.
Of course not. Yeah.
Given to the lawyer like after Jack, like
Given
to
just,
Jack.
after.
Got it.
Like, so hold on.
To put in the treasure chest, correct? Just to clarify.
Right. It was not in the treasure chest, and
Right.
so
it was given to the lawyer by Forrest to put in the treasure chest.
exactly. Yes. So for Forrest, I think again, Jack told me he said "oops" when he realized that he hadn't put it in the chest and he had meant to, and it was in like a box in his vault for 10 years, and so he like took it out and gave it to the lawyer and put it in the treasure chest. So
Nice.
finally that actually became whole. Like I'm trying to, I'm sorry. I'm totally blowing this right now because I'm trying to find on my phone where the email was that Jack sent me about these specific items.
You could just read all the emails from Jack.
Yeah. Nice try. But
that's what I do.
And this is the picture. This is the frog on the necklace that was given, right? This is the one we're talking about right
here.
Yeah,
that's right. That one. The other one was in the chest.
So
the other
one wasn't gifted,
so
everybody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the other one was in the chest. So we have the kind of like what I'll call there's the two strings of beads. There's the one that looks like almost like nuts, like nuts you would use for for construction work, whatever. To the right, I would say that's so this is like the one sort of kind of more ornate beads, and then there's like the nuts one, on the right there, I guess. And so those are the two different strings of beads there. We have the what's in the bottom left, right? I think
nose rings.
Yeah, right. So yes, exactly. Nose rings and earrings.
Ew.
And then rings.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, there's the frog.
And then
there's my frog.
Yeah, and then let's go up to the top left to our friends. Jack described them as thimbles. I prefer my Simpsons nuclear silo version, but that's okay. We can go with whatever we want. It was funny. That was one of the strange things because Jack also was like, I don't know what these are, and he asked Fenn, and he said that Fenn basically wasn't sure either. So everybody was like, I don't know.
What'll be the coolest part? We have some hardcore searchers. I guarantee they're going to think this is a hint. They will know. We will know by the end of the weekend. Exactly. They will have the history of those, and that'll help Jack.
Well, honestly, let me make sure I find this email because I want to, I don't want to leave, any kind of information that's like, I don't think there was any hint to this. I think this was like, Fenn just forgot what he put in this thing. But I want to make sure I get exactly right what Jack said to me about it.
This is cool to see the up close pictures. So thank you for taking them and thank you for sharing them.
And we've all been looking for this thing for 10 years. At least we get to see it. Jack found it, but at least we get to see it up close.
Right. And I mean, like, that's I feel that sense of responsibility too, that look, I was looking for this thing. I understand, the desire to see and know and be close to it. And I take very seriously the responsibility that I had in that Jack let me see this thing, So, right. There's a lot to trying at least to do this the right way,
Yeah.
So,
So we do a poker tournament every January in Vegas. We've had 5 of them. Several people said, I'm bringing my book. I hope Dan will come and to sign them. And hopefully the world is back poker, to normal.
Right?
I do play poker. I know a lot of people who play poker very well. I play poker very mediocrely, but that's okay. Beat plays poker very well.
And Mike McDonald from your book.
I do know Mike McDonald. I know, yes. He plays poker very well. So why can I not find this damn email?
And there's the picture of the chest.
2 hours ago.
The corner of the treasure chest right here on the bottom. So look at that.
Yes, that is in fact the corner of the treasure chest.
Yeah.
And you can always come back on to explain the contents.
I feel like this thing is. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go off screen for a minute and go find my computer where I can much more easily search something than on my phone.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, no problem. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for the super chats. I know we didn't get to every single question, and I know I had to paraphrase some of the questions because they scroll through, but we really do appreciate it. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed the interview here with Daniel. He was nice enough to come on.
And so let me tee up. We know that Amy is having a show on Sunday. If you don't know Chasing Indy, you got to go over and subscribe to her. She has secured an interview as well on June 1st. Nice. So there's going to be 2 follow-up interviews. And now we have a lot of these questions answered. We can then hopefully tangent and go different directions with different questions. So it's kind of by being first is great, but we had to do kind of let's get some stuff out of the way. But we have 2 tubers that are going to have some awesome interviews and time with Dan. So, and hopefully he'll come back.
And if your question didn't get through here, maybe you could talk to Amy or Candy and get the question, asked for there. Because I know there's a ton of questions.
Yeah,
It's
I
awesome
know.
that Dan's even looking this up for us. I mean, he doesn't have to do this, but he wants to make sure he gets it right. So
Right, that's
So
super
let's
smart.
see. So Jack, when I asked Jack about the nuclear. Okay, so I wrote to him. Let's see, what did I write to him?
nuclear silos.
I said, what are the two? Geez, how do I describe this? Nuclear power plant silo looking gold things, about an inch long each, wider on the top than on the bottom. I didn't know anything about those. And he wrote to me, the nuclear silo things, I think I know what you're talking about. They're pretty ornate and roughly thimble sized. I don't know what those are, and was a little taken aback that Forrest said he didn't remember. So I guess I'll have to ask an expert on that one. So
But they
so
are
nobody knows
gold,
what
right?
those are. So
They are gold, right? Everything here is gold, correct?
I would assume so, but I'm not an expert on that. So, but yeah, I would think so. But yeah, so basically nobody knows what those are. So,
Yeah. But like
Nice.
K-Pro
I
said,
knew
somebody
this.
will research it and find out, I'm sure, in
Yes.
the near future.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
awesome.
So, all right, guys. So it's 11 o'clock where I
Yeah,
am.
You're
thanks
off.
so much, Daniel. We appreciate it.
Yep.
We're
No,
still gonna
guys,
do the book
I
giveaway.
enjoyed
So
this was cool. So I'm glad
Yeah.
we could kind of try to hopefully just chat it out, set the record straight, have a little fun. So
Yeah.
So
Yep.
when the
Plug myself,
solution,
buy the book, people, buy the book.
yeah, I
This
put
book.
in the chat the link to Amazon several times. It's in the description down below, guys. Go get this book. If you were involved in the Thrill of Chase at all, you will want to read this book. Daniel, any plans for a follow-up book? If the solution comes out, and it will, whether it's from Jack or for somebody else, do you have any plans to do another book?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to do another. Look, I will probably do an updated epilogue at some point.
Oh, okay, there you go.
A lot
Reissue.
in the paperback editions of books like this usually, which is usually comes out about a year later. You have the chance to kind of say, and here's what happened in the last year. Kind
Yeah,
of.
that's what I
Right,
meant.
right.
Yeah.
And I would
That's awesome.
assume that that would be the case here. I can't see why not, but
You could add
I
the
would
picture.
think that I don't know if there's enough, at least from me, to fill a whole other book.
We'll
But
see.
there's certainly enough from other people, but I don't know about from me.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to have Dan drop off now. We're going to do the book giveaway. Thank you
Yep.
so much, Dan. It was
Absolutely, guys. It was a
wonderful.
real pleasure.
Yes. Okay. Well, you have a great night. Okay. So if one of the moderators can put in the link one more time, we're going to go to comment picker and we are going to pick who is winning. Actually, I think it's actually this book. I haven't opened
Yeah,
this
we're
one.
going to send that one out. Okay.
Or the one you're reading yours. This one hasn't been opened.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So we actually have 3 books, mine, Mike's, and now our giveaways. Let me
do this. Let me do a couple of things. All right. So we're going to do comment picker. You guys should have commented on the video. This is Greg's channel Dark that K-Bro was on last Wednesday. Let me do a couple things here.
click there and click
Yes.
here. I think we will be analyzing pictures. If we're going to see more pictures, that's awesome. And I think we are. So I am all about this was fun. This was,
Yeah.
I
that was
think,
cool.
what we've waited so many months for. And this is awesome to have. And then Amy, she will prepare and she will do. Oh, and Cynthia's going to be on as well. I think she announced. And then, Chasing Indy's going to have, and Dark said he's going to try for an interview. I think absolutely. I think the more information we have, I think there were a couple things. Okay, let me ask you guys. Oh, do comment picker first.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's get, okay. So again, everybody, this is going to pick randomly one of the comments. If I do this again, get YouTube comments on that video. We have 87 unique comments. Remember, you've got to email me like now. You got to be watching in order to win.
Yeah.
So email me, cowlazars@gmail.com. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. And if you already have the book and you want to give it to somebody else, let me know. Angelia Weenserl. That is the name that was picked. Angela Weenserl, it looks like. So
you have to be in here. So comment quickly so then we can make sure that we don't have to repick. But as that is going, what's the coolest part of today? I love the picture. That's huge. The thimble looking crazy things. And the other one, what stood out to you, Mike? There's one thing he said that stood out to me.
Trying to think. You know what? I would have, because I was monitoring the chat. I'm going to have to rewatch it to digest it. What stood out to you?
Did you guys notice that he said, and I'm going to have to rewatch it. This stands out to me right now. Jack stepped on the treasure.
Oh yeah, that is huge.
He stepped
that
on
is, it. That's not in the book, everybody. That's breaking news.
He stepped on it.
He knows that he was in that area, and so he's assuming he would have walked right over it.
but he stepped on it. If you're stepping on it, it's not inside of a crevice. It was out in the open.
Yeah, we
No,
know.
we did not. No.
Well, from the book, he says that there was a disturbance of the ground. And what I thought that meant is there's a little mound. In other words, Forrest put it down level to the ground where the lid was showing. In my opinion, you guys could read the book and make your own decision. But over the 10 years, it got covered up by so much debris from the forest that he could have stepped right on it and not known. And that's what he saw first. He saw the lid with all the debris on it. And then he looked up and he realized that was the blaze he was looking for. But again, everybody read the book and make your own.
It seemed to be more exposed than I've always envisioned. I envisioned it under something that it could not be stepped on.
No, I got you. And that, you know, what Forrest said, the place where the treasure chest is has sunlight, but the chest itself does not. It's because Forrest knew it would be covered at this time with twigs and dirt and leaves and everything else.
Czar said Forrest did say he was waiting for the clomp of the boot. Boom.
Okay. So I will tell you this. I will tell you one takeaway that I thought was huge from the book, but I didn't have the time to actually ask Dan about it. And that is when Jack on June 5th, Friday, June 5th, emailed him and says, hey, I found your treasure chest. And Forrest says, congratulations and all that. What is said in the book is that Forrest did not announce it until Saturday night at 7:20 p.m. And Forrest said, I'm trying to paraphrase here because I don't have the book in front of me. I mean, I don't have the page number, but Forrest said, I announced it once it was retrieved. So in other words, when Jack sent him the pictures and was like, look, I found it, I want permission. And Forrest gave him permission. Forrest didn't end it. He didn't email everybody on Friday night and say it's been found because it hadn't been retrieved yet. And that's an important distinction to me because the poem has always said, if you are wise and found the blaze, if you are brave and in the wood, you have to retrieve it. If somebody would have got that treasure chest by the time Jack emailed Forrest before he went back Saturday and got it, that person that got it would have been the rightful finder. You had to actually retrieve it. So for everybody out there, and I know we're kind of having an after party here, but that's okay. We can go all night. For anybody that emailed Forrest to say, I know I have the right solution, give me title to the gold, I know I'm right, that none of that matters. You had to go actually physically retrieve it.
I'll give you the quote because it was on my list and I'm sorry I didn't get to it.
No, that's okay.
It was important to tell everyone once it was out of its place.
Out of its place. Anybody who found the treasure chest and kept going, it's not yours. You didn't retrieve it. You have to actually pick it up and take it to take ownership of it. And now I guess we could get into, you actually had to take it to Santa Fe to legally get ownership of it from Forrest. But I just thought it was important that Forrest said, and that's in the book, that when it was out of its place, then I announced.
Yeah, now, but we know that Jack, even though he got drunk and he slept in, he had it before 7:35 p.m. Why didn't
that? I don't know. I don't know if
he said he slept in and then he went and picked it up. So
could it be that he didn't contact Forrest until 7:35?
No, he said
I'm on my way. I'm coming down.
He said he called him once he got it in his car and headed on his way. That's what
Saturday,
he said.
We're assuming morning or early afternoon.
Exactly.
So what did Forrest have to do before 7:30 or 7:20 p.m. when he announced it? Talk to a lawyer, maybe? Talk to Carl, talk to these other lawyers.
Or it just doesn't add up. And Jack, you are not the finder.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know.
A good point.
Okay, we got to pick someone else because unfortunately, Angelina was not here.
I just closed it. All right, give me a second.
No, you got to reopen it. We got a book to give away.
Say you got to be watching, and
we got to be watching.
All right,
and
people.
Nobody
can do one more.
Yeah, no, people are asking. They're saying, move on. You've had plenty of time. Mike and I have been jibber jabbering for 10 minutes. 3 minutes.
Oh, I do still have it up. All right. And let's see, maybe somebody
what if she
commented since then? Yes, we're up to 100 comments now. It was 87. Now we're at 100. Good luck, everybody. Remember, in the chat, you've also got to email me. Let me know you're here. Here we go. Good luck. And that winner is Margaret Schmidtau Hubert. All right, we got new people watching, which I really like. Margaret, are you in the chat? Margaret Schmidtau Hubert. Or email me, cowlazars@gmail.com. She is here, Dark says.
Woo!
All right, Margaret, congratulations. We are going to send you a copy of Chasing the Thrill, the newest book to come out on the Thrill of the Chase and the ending of the Thrill of the Chase. But it's not over. It's not over till we get the solution. You guys know that. Me and K-Pro are going to keep doing Forrest Fenn Treasure Found. We go live every Monday and Thursday. We're also going to get to some other treasure hunts, but we will always go live with the breaking news for the Forrest Fenn.
Oh, no, wait. Angelina is in chat.
Oh, Angelina's here?
So it needs to go to Was Angelina in chat?
Sakes.
Where did we see it, guys?
Do me a favor to make it correct. Email me, and whoever emails me first, Angelina. Or Margaret,
No,
you
it
get
needs
the
to be
book.
it needs to be Angelina because Angelina was picked
Email
first.
me.
Yeah, I don't see
Cowlazars
Angelina in chat, guys. Did I miss it?
Angelina was here. They're saying maybe she got off though. Jens is in the chat. Hey Jens, how you doing? All German name winners today. LOL. Are those all your other accounts, Jens? You're trying to get a free copy of the
Oh, it's funny.
Now need to send 2 books out. Thanks, Lauren. And
No,
hey,
I don't
I'm behind
see-
on my
I don't
emails.
see
I'll get caught
Angelina,
up.
guys.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Whoever emails, because we need somebody
Yeah,
to.
whoever
we need
emails me.
someone to email Cowlazars right now, guys.
Give them both a book. But Luck Rider, they have to email me though. They have to be like, the dark says scroll up. But if
Okay,
they're
I
not
scrolled all the way up.
watching right now, it kind of doesn't help. I need an address to send them a book. She is
She's
here at
here at
8:12. 8:12 in the video, 8:12.
No, 8:12 in the chat room. 8:12. She could have me blocked and have you
She
blocked.
chatted. Well, she's got to email me, guys. Cowlazars@gmail.com.
Okay, that'll work its way out. I
Yeah,
guarantee.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting a book. We can guarantee you that. Yeah, Meeps, I did find your sweatshirt. It was in a bag in the garage, right where I left it 18 years ago. World Series of Fenn sweatshirt that's no longer available, I might add. So we will get that to you, Meeps, for sure. 3D Bronze says, I'll PayPal you for the book for the second winner. No, 3D Bronze, we'll work it out. And why are you obsessed with those scissors? 3dbronze.com/
We have to get it for him.
Ooh.
There's something, just like the frogs and why it meant something to me. You don't have to tell your story. But here's the story you guys need to read. This was fun. It was awesome.
She just did what? Comment?
There's
there she is. Yep. I just saw it. No, I lost it.
Okay.
There she is. The email. Thank you, Angela. You're there. So Angela Wiensel, you'll get it. You'll get it. Okay.
Okay.
Cowlazars. Remember, make sure you spell it right. Cowlazars.
There you go.
I don't have it yet. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys were saying, why am I all dressed up? I'm sorry, I have a Cowlazars shirt on, but the reason is Mike and I are going to date night, and that is why. It was not for Dan, even though this was an important interview, and I would have, but I'm not all dressed up, you silly goosies.
And date night's going to be talking about this interview as far as what new information did we get tonight.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Make sure it wasn't found under your bed.
No, I think, and I appreciated Dan for like not answering the conspiracy question because he just doesn't want to go there. I thought that was good. I thought when he couldn't answer or he said he didn't know, he seemed very truthful to me. I do want to go back to the thread that said, no, they lived right next to each other in Philly because he's never lived in Philly. And now we know the last time you guys came up with the greatest questions. The last time he was in Myrtle Beach was the year that Jurassic Park was made.
Yeah, that was a little when he's like, yeah, when I was a teenager. And then this, he went into some detail instead of, but whatever. I don't even know why that question was asked. So whatever.
There was a lot of fun questions. And I know a lot of you guys asked me to ask him specifically places. Like, has he ever been, do you think Jack has ever been to Baker's Hole, Madison, blah, 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 blah. And I just grouped it on. He doesn't know the solution or any parts of it. So we didn't go there. So
Texas James is saying, give them both a book. Well, Margaret has to email me. I haven't got an email from either one of them yet. So email me and we'll figure it out, everybody.
Yeah, so this was fun. I was a little concerned to my search peeps that I talked to, prep people. I was really concerned we didn't get to all the questions, and we didn't by far, but that's why it's so awesome that we have upcoming interviews that will just keep going.
Look at this bad boy. Make sure you guys subscribe because we got this in the mail today. And we made a video when we opened it to see what's inside. And you guys are going to see that video. I'll probably upload it over the weekend.
It's really cool.
So make sure you tune in to figure out who sent this and why. It's
and nice no, we're not selling treasure boxes. Don't think that. We got it as a gift, guys. It was awesome.
Thanks, Duncan Smith. We appreciate it. We really appreciate the super chats, everybody. And yeah, thanks for tuning in today. I know we had over 400, so I'll chip in for a book for Margaret. Margaret will get a book as long as Margaret emails me, okay? Margaret and Angela, you both got to email me because I need your address. I can't give it to somebody if I don't know who to send it to. So, and Angela, I did not get your email, so make sure you check that spelling. Oh, there it is. I did get your email, and she is not in Germany. All right, Angela, you're good. You're in. Margaret, email me. Okay, so yeah, Monday night show, Forrest Fenn Treasure Found. Any idea what we're going to talk about, K-Pro?
We're going to have not only digesting our interview, we're
Mhm.
also going to have Amy's interview by Sunday. So Monday, we're going to be
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about both of them. What are the pieces? We're now going for Jack slip-ups to Dan slip-ups. I'm interested in his thoughts on the fake blaze, especially, and the blaze and the stepping on. And what do you guys see? Leave a comment in the comment section. Is there something that you think maybe was a slip-up? The stepping on, I think, was huge. But there's some questions like, he has hours of interview with Jack because it's all the on the record stuff. When are we ever gonna see that? I totally want to. You
Right.
guys gave me a hard time when we were just giving out parts of it and not cutting room floor stuff. But anyway, I had fun. It was great. It was real. I think we're all going to be talking about this book and then Dan's follow-up interviews. And thanks. His publicist told me he specifically wanted us to be the first Fenn tubers, and was really excited to be here. And I think it's awesome. And so I had a blast. I had a blast preparing. Mike and I, we actually had some things taped, or videoed of how we were prepping for this show.
You're
It was a little
right. Yeah.
tense. It was a little tense. I got a little carried away because I
Uh,
take this seriously, not because it's more important than anything, but these are important things to get right. It's just like the Forrest Fenn interview. I
Well,
took
I
the
tell
time.
Christy, relax. You're going to do as good as you always do. We do these things. You know, we've been around for a while. It's not like this is our first interview or something. So,
But what I
it'll
told
go
Mike
fine.
back is it's because you have sections and you try to prepare, and what happens if this and that. We were really worried about not getting super chats in and all of that. And so Mike goes, let's just swing it. And I'm like, but I'm the opposite. And he's like, let's just
Right.
swing it. And then I
Biggest,
smacked him around, and then he helped me prepare.
the biggest was the time constraint because he is on the East Coast, Boston. Shout
Yeah.
out to Michael O'Connell. Yeah, he's over there and it's 11 p.m. and he's got kids, etc. Now, the Maverick points out, he says it's a possibility that he may have stepped on it because he was right there at one point. So maybe he stepped on it, maybe he didn't. But Jack knows, according to his GPS, #GPS solve, that he was in that area. He searched that area before and just missed it.
No,
So-
but the big thing is for me, I didn't think it would be possible to step on it. I thought it would be inside of a nook that you're
Right.
not stepping on
Gotcha.
it. So
Well-
this is new information.
Well, Forrest said nobody would stumble upon it. Well, how does that make any sense? I think it was because it was nowhere somebody would normally go. I mean, you're literally a needle in a
Aw.
haystack of the 4 states if you're just going to stumble upon it, right? What's that, Capra?
Tina had to go. I'm so sorry,
What
but thanks for
happened?
checking in. I know it's not the flirting, it's just the hate. We don't like
I
hate here.
gotcha.
You can flirt with every single guy in this chat, but the hate stuff, bye-bye sugar pie. Sorry, I didn't want to
Okay.
end it on that note.
It was under the snow, John S. says. Oh, that's interesting. If it was June, could there have been snow up there? I don't know. June in
I don't think so.
Yellowstone, obviously Yellowstone.
I heard it was very,
in
very
Wyoming.
windy. Oh,
Yeah. And what was the weather on that day? That's interesting. to see.
Didn't they talk about that on Amy's show? Because I think Matt was there the day before.
I didn't see it,
and
so I don't know.
was super windy. That's why the stick went in, but there wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, Q, that's right. Now you can exhale. The interview's done. It went great. Enjoy
was
date night
fun.
and celebrate. Yeah, we
Yes.
appreciate that, Q.
Let's go.
And all you new people that have been tuned in for this interview, make sure you subscribe because we're going to hit every time there is breaking news right there. Breaking news. We hit that button and we go live and we give you guys the information because the thrill of the chase may be over, meaning the treasure chest is found and in Jack's possession, but the thrill of the chase community is still here and they
Yeah.
still want some answers. We want to know where it was. And I think it'll come out one way or the other. Also, what's this Friday that Toby's going to be on?
Saturday.
Saturday, 48 hours. What is
Yeah,
it?
48 hours.
One of those
And
days.
there is a sneak peek out there of the 48 hours. Go on Thor and Facebook, Cowlazars. I put it up there. It does look like their focus is going to be on the deaths. And so I think they have Eric Ashby's father and then the one searcher
Ooh.
that passed.
Oh,
And
man.
his search partner was basically only survived because he drank his own pee to survive the days. The other one died. He was in the hospital for a long time. There's a nurse. There's lots of, so it looks like that's going to be their focus, but yes, it should be. You will see, I know Toby's in it. I believe Sasha's in it. I believe Cynthia's in it. I don't know who else is in it, but a
The
lot of the
usual
searchers we
suspects.
know and love. Yeah.
You
So-
guys need a third wheel, Silver Fox says. And this is for all the super chats, everybody.
Oh no.
How'd it go? You remember? You know what I'm talking about, K-Pro? You have no idea what I'm talking about. Do you?
No.
All right. That is for the super chats. Thank you very much. Copper Dan with the $100 super chat.
Yeah.
Thanks, Copper Dan.
Yeah. You guys.
We
rock.
got your pieces right there up on the shelf, actually. Thor link to the 48 hours. There it is. Albert coming
Boom.
through with the Thor link. Thank you, Albert. And thank you
Boom.
for all the moderators. And thank you
Yeah.
to Albert, our newest moderator. And
Yeah.
if you don't know, Thor is the hintofriches.com, which is a forum to let you guys discuss all the Forrest Fenn conspiracies, theories on the solution, on Jack, on me and K-Pro, on whatever you want. And there's some other treasure hunts there also.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anything else, K-Pro? I think that's it.
That is all. I am ready to go and celebrate. I had fun, and you know how great it's going to be. I know people are always like, "Oh, you could get in this show and that show." No, I want to be like Indy. You're going to do awesome, and I love to be in the chat because then I can chat away with you guys. And so definitely we'll see you guys Sunday for Dan's next interview. I think it's the next interview. There might be some between then. There's been 3 or 4 others, but I think the Fenn tuber interviews are going to be very different than generic people interviews, just like Forrest. I think when we prepped, it was very different of how we prep. And so anyway.
And Huli, sorry we didn't get to it, but she super chatted and had a great question. Amy or Candy, if you're watching, ask this. Why did he highlight Yellowstone and Santa Fe in the picture? Isn't that a coinky wink, everybody? Santa Fe's here, and there's a big box pointing out Yellowstone right there. I want to see what his answer is.
Yeah. Okay, last thing. Those of you that want to tell us your solves all the time, don't, because there is a guy named Dark Greg, good Greg. This Greg does not suck.
Good
and
Greg.
He wants to hear from you. He gives you like a half an hour, or something crazy like that. He tapes them, if that's the right word. He records them and then he uploads it up on the GTC channel, which GTC, it means good Greg. Greg Talks Chase. It's Greg, the wonderful Greg. So he is now getting some requests. He is now taking them. He's put the first one up, which was Billy. The second one's going to be Minotaur. And then he wants to hear from you. So many of you send me or Mike your solves. This is not the Greg that sucks. You need to talk to Greg. So it's gregtalkschase@gmail.com.
There's his YouTube channel in the chat. You guys go subscribe, go watch. K-Pro's on there Wednesdays, but that's not about solves. That's about Maverick, messages from the Maverick.
Yeah.
But he will do your solve and he will put it up on his YouTube channel. So check it out.
Yeah, good non-sucking Greg. That's his new name.
And somebody wanted us to ask Dan, are you going on the Brutal Truth on Tuesday? But we didn't get a chance to ask that question. So we'll see Tuesday if he's going to go on there or not.
It sounds to me that Greg's going, or Greg,
he's doing all of them.
Dan's going on everywhere that requested. I think what I had heard, and this is just scuttlebutt, is the Greg Sucks guy wanted Dan to come to him because he's such a good channel. It's not how it works with PR and media. So probably Greg nicely asked, and he's Indy, Mindy. There's lots of people that are supposedly getting interviews, but we will see. I know there's lots of shenanigans over there, and I don't know a lot about what's going on over on that channel. After party with Indy. That sounds awesome. Guys, you should all head over there. There is the link because Mike's taking me to date night. Goodbye.
Randy with the comments. I did get an email from Angela and Margaret. I'm going to send you both a book. You guys are both to get a book. Thank you for watching. You guys are new viewers as far as I know, and we appreciate you guys watching. So yeah, thank you everybody. I know it may not be closure, but I really think Daniel Barbarisi encapsulated the story of the Thrill of the Chase very well in this book. It's a good window. If you don't know about the Thrill of the Chase, it's a good window into how things went down. It's a good window into some searchers. And it's a good window into the ending that we have so far. But I really think there is going to be some more to come.
Oh, there's stuff a-coming. It's a brewing. It's a brewing. I tell you. Okay. Good night, all.
And I think me and K-Pro are going to go do this.
Bud Light. Suck one.
Okay, everybody. I had to get it in for the super chats. Thank you, guys. We'll be live Monday. And remember, make sure you subscribe because we're going to upload a video and show you what's in the magic box. Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're out.